Hey everybody, it's Christy with Paper Reverie, and today I'm doing a video and I'm going to participate in the hashtag Scraptember 2025 put on by Seven Plaza and Crafty by Tony. I just wanted to be a part of it. I thought it would be super fun. It's going to be my first time participating in anything like this, so I am super excited. Today I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use the first item on the prompt list here. I went ahead and printed this off, and I'll go ahead and put a link to Seven Plaza and Crafty by Tony because they have the link to the prompt list, so you can print this out if you'd like to participate as well. But today I'm going to use number one. It's easier, I thought, and I have so many junk mail envelopes that I'm just going to go ahead and make this little cutie. So I just used a junk mail envelope and I just made a little mini journal, fall themed, with just scraps that I have here. So it's just really cute. It's got I used 5 pages, so it's got 20 journaling pages in here. It's got a few little pockets and some journaling cards in here. This is just some coffee dyed grid paper, coffee dyed paper. This was just some a printable that I made, and I believe that I went on to Canva and I had just gotten some fall colors here, some paper that I wanted to use in a different project. I just happened to have these left over. And then here is some graph paper, ledger paper, some more coffee dyed paper. And then on the center of the signature, I just have a little tuck spot here. These also came from Canva. These are just some journaling cards, a cute little pumpkin. You can journal on the back of that. And then these same pages here, going all the way through. And then in the back, just another little pocket and another little journaling card. I went ahead and put a closure here with just some orange fall colored ribbon, and it's just ties, just simple and cute. This one measures, I didn't really do a whole lot of adjusting on it, but this one measures about 4.5 by 1, 2, 3, 4, about 4.5 by 4. And I just think it's just a cute size, and you can give it as a gift or tuck it in any, little junk journal too, or send it for Happy Mail or just anything like that. I just thought this was super, super cute for this time of year. All right, so let's just go through the things that I'm going to use for this mini journal. I have my junk mail envelope here. I've got these pages that I'm going to use for the signature pages here, and these are all just scrap pages that I had left over from another project that I just thought, oh, these will just be really great because they are nice and grungy and fall colors. These are just some pieces of ephemera, some labels and pumpkins and just some fall images here that'll be good for some pockets. And I've got a little bit of ribbon that I had left over from the first one that I did, so we'll go ahead and use those. A little bit of fabric that I used here on the cover. I just did that and grunged it up a little bit with the distressed oxide. So maybe we can use a little bit of fabric. And then I'm going to use these pieces. I believe I'm going to use this piece for the front cover. I just thought the colors were really pretty. And I believe that I got this one off of Canva, I think. And then I'm going to use this coffee dyed paper here. It's thicker paper. I believe it's some cardstock that I coffee dyed. And then I'm going to use this one here, which is in the other journal as well, but I really do like it. So we're going to use that. And then I do have my Fabri-Tac, some art glitter glue. I have Distress Oxide, and you don't have to ink it if you don't want to, but I do have the Distress Oxide in the Vintage Photo and the Walnut Stain. I just love both of those. My little dauber here to ink the edges. I am going to do a 3-hole pamphlet stitch just to put this together. Very, very simple. And then I have some scissors, a blade here, my ruler, a scoring tool, because I am going to use the scoreboard to do the spine and open that up a little bit so there's enough room for everything. Then I have this orange velvet ribbon, and then this thinner ribbon here, and I'm going to use this for the closure. So there might be a few other little things that I use for decoration, but this is very beginner friendly. I like that. It just makes it easy. So we'll go ahead and get started. All right, so we'll get this out of the way. Let's start getting this spine. Oops, sorry. We'll get this scored here so we can get this spine ready to go. Make sure there's enough room. So this measures about 8.5. So I'm gonna score right in the middle at 4 1/4 here. And then I'm gonna score one more right in front of it and one more right after it. And then, so we can go ahead and get this out of our way here. And then that will just give us a little bit of a rounded spine here so that we'll have plenty of room to put our pages in there. And I like to just kind of take a pencil or, you know, something like that and just kind of round it out there so it forms that and makes it easier to get in there. And then, so this is just going to go in half. And also I want to start off by gluing this envelope together. Now I'm not going to use this as a pocket or anything like that. I did not do that on the other one either. So we'll just go ahead and put a little bit of glue here and close this up. If you want to, you can open up this end or both ends here and have a little pocket on the side when this is closed here. And again, I'm not going to do that today. I will just keep it very, very simple. So we've got this all glued here. So we're going to go ahead and put cover this on the front cover, and I did want to use this paper, so we're going to go ahead and just roughly measure here, and I just try and keep it pretty simple here and no specific measuring, but I'm just going to go like this, put a little pencil line on that, get this as even as possible, get my blade here. Let me close up my glue. There we go. And my ruler. And let me just find that line. We'll try and get this as even as possible. And this out of the way. And then we'll go ahead and make sure that we are, the length here is good. We'll go ahead and trim this as well. Here we go. Okay. And I believe this might be a little bit long here, so let me just adjust that a little bit more here on the end. Just a tiny bit more. There we go. All right. So we've got this is ready to go. This fits nicely. And I am going to ink up this whole envelope here so you don't see the white. And I'm going to use the Vintage Photo for that. Go ahead and just lightly do this here all the way around. And again, you don't have to ink the edges if you don't like that. You can just leave it white. But it does look nice, and it brings everything together, I think, with the ink. Just what I like to do every once in a while. And then I'm just gonna ink this. You probably won't see it because I will put that orange velvet ribbon on the spine there, but we'll go ahead and ink the inside here as well. And good, we're done and done that. Okay. Go ahead and close this up. All right, and then we'll go ahead and we will put this on the front cover here. Oh, here we go. Good. There we go. Good. And we are on our way to disguising this envelope here. On the back, I am going to use this coffee dyed cardstock. So we'll go ahead and do the same here. Measure this out. And measure this one here. Good. We'll use our blade here. Get this as even as we can. Good. All right. There. Put that away. And then same thing for this one. Good. And put this out of the way. And then make sure this fits. Whoops. Make sure this fits here. And I am going to just quickly ink around here too. Just the coffee dyed is nice, but since I trimmed this, then it's not as grungy on the edges as I'd like. So, and then we'll go ahead and glue this on. And this is thicker cardstock, so it is going to strengthen this envelope up and just make it so that it just has structure to it. So. All right, good. Go ahead and put this guy on here. Great. And we'll just press this down here. Excellent. And we can possibly, maybe we'll decorate the back of this with something, a little label, or, you know, something like that on the back. But if, you know, we're not going to really see this, you know, a whole lot, so we'll just focus on this front cover here. Okay, so we've got the front and the back covered, and then we're going to go ahead and work on the inside here. So I chose this paper to cover the inside here. So I made sure that this was just about ready to go here. So I'm just going to do this last trim here, and we'll get this to where it fits. So we'll go ahead and put this off to the side, and we will trim this and get that glued on. Good, 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 good. All right, careful. Great. Okay, and then we'll go ahead and I will ink this here, and get this ready to glue in the center. Excellent. All righty. And we will get this out of the way here and get our glue out. Oh, here. My glue wants to act up here. All right, much better. And this glue is pretty powerful stuff, so it doesn't take a whole lot, but I do want to make sure that I get all along the edges here really well. Good. There we go. Put my pin in there in just a second. Go ahead and lay this down. And there's just a few little markings there that I want to make sure we cover up. Get this as straight as we can get it. And then I'm just going to take my scoring tool and just burnish this down here. Squish that glue out to the edges really well. And you see after we inked here, it looks really nice and just kind of brings everything together. But since this paper here is pretty thin, it's just lightweight copy paper, so it still allows us to get that bend here in the spine, and it's still just that rounded spine there. So we're moving along beautifully. Let me go ahead and close up my glue here. And then we're going to now go ahead and get the signature pages ready to go. So I've got 2 pages here that of the coffee dyed paper that I'm gonna use. And so we'll go ahead and measure these together because they'll be the same size. So we'll go ahead and get this ready to go. I'm going to take that to about right here. So we'll trim that. Make sure these are lined up. And we'll trim this. Good. Wonderful. Put that off to the side. And then I do really love this image here of the trees and just the browns and orange and gold. So I'm gonna trim this, and it is double-sided here, this orange graph design. So we're gonna go ahead and line this up here. Good, and trim this. Wonderful. Put that off to the side. We'll go ahead and just fold this in half. Good. And go ahead, put this in here. And I'm going to line this up here. Go ahead and trim that. And that should make the image nice and even here. So go ahead with that. And I'm probably going to use this as the center signature page. So just because that image is just so pretty. And then we've got this grid paper here. And I believe this is about ready. We do need to trim just a little bit off of this. So I'm going to just take this down to about here. Good. Fold this in half. Wonderful. Okay. And then we've got these orange pages. I'm going to use 2 of these. So I'm going to trim this down to fit. So I've got them both even here. And then I'll go ahead and make a little mark here. And trim these last 2. Wonderful. All right, set those aside. These also have, they're double-sided, so that will be good. So let's just get everybody here and we'll put these together. So I do believe I'm going to have on the front, the front of the signature here, I'm going to have this orange. And it looks like, you know, some woven, like burlap, and it's that orange color. Then I'm going to take some coffee dyed paper and put that in next. I'm going to put this graph paper in here and another coffee dyed paper in here. Another one of these orange ones. I'm going to flip this the other way. Good. Come on. And then I'm going to have this be the center of the signature here. Perfect. All right. So I might have to trim this just a little bit, but let's just see kind of how this fits in here. And yes, it looks like I am going to have to trim a few of these. So we'll go ahead and do that. I'm just going to take my ruler here and trim these down. Good. All right, so let's take a look now. Here. Coffee dyed. And then this will be our center. So let's just double check this again here. in here like this. And oh, it looks like we're gonna have to take a little bit off of the end here. So we'll go ahead and do that. And if you don't like the blade or cutting with the blade and you want to do that, you can use your paper trimmer if you prefer that, or just your scissors, but I do prefer the blade. It's easier for me. And there we go. Everything fits in here just perfectly. All right, so we will go ahead and get the signature sewn in. So I've got the signature pages here. I've got our cover. I'm gonna get a needle out, and I am just gonna use this upholstery thread. It's very sturdy, but it's thin enough that it's not going to get in the way or add any bulk or anything like that. But I really like this for these tiny little journals, just because you don't need something, you know, too strong. So I'm going to go ahead, and what they say is to do like 3 lengths of the signatures or the pages here. So 1, 2, 3 roughly, and maybe just a smidge more. We'll go ahead and trim that off. We'll put that out of our way here. And then I have an awl here, so we're going to use that, which is just the pokey tool that you can use to punch the holes in the signature and the cover here. So I'm going to open this up, get to our middle of the signature. Here we go. And we're just going to get this in here nice and tight. You want to just squish this down. And I do use these clips, or you can use a paper clip, but this just holds everything in there and makes sure that it's all the way pushed to the center here of the spine. And I'm not going to measure anything. We're just going to do this just very, very easy, quick. So I'm just going to estimate here in the middle. So I'm going to do a small hole here in the middle. I'm going to do one just about maybe 3/4 of an inch from the bottom here. Push that. And then just about the same at the top here. I'm going to push here. You got to be real careful that you don't poke yourself. And then we'll go ahead and thread this. This is a nice large eye here, and so it'll be easier for me to thread. We'll set that all away here, so out of our way. And I'm going to go in from the inside of the signature, and my threads will be on the inside. And so we'll go ahead and come through here. You want to hang on to this thread, and then you want to come back through either the top or the bottom, it doesn't matter. And then come all the way down to the bottom here, still holding, making sure this thread doesn't slip out of there. Pull that through. And then I want to make sure this is not going to go anywhere. Hang on to that. And then we're going to come back through the middle hole. And the thing that you want is you want each end to be on either side of the center here, and you want to just pull it nice and tight, not too tight, so you don't rip your pages here. And I do, you know, at least 3 knots just to make sure that's nice and secure there. And then just trim this. You can remove your clips or your paper clips, and there we have it, nice and tight. And you've got these little strings here in the middle, and it's just, I really like it. I think it's super, super cute. So there's that. There's so many tutorials on how to do the 3-hole pamphlet stitch all throughout YouTube, and so I didn't really go over that as well as some people might like, but there are just so many tutorials to see, and I can go over that if you'd like at another time. Just let me know in the comments if that's something that you'd like me to go over. So we'll go ahead and flip through here and make sure that these are all nice. I do like to just kind of go through and use a bone folder. I'm using my score tool here, and just make sure that these are just down nicely so they lay nice and flat. I'll go here on the other side. Good. Excellent. And last one here. Good. All right. So this is just looking so cute. I'm really, really liking that. So we'll go ahead and we can start decorating. Okay, so we'll go ahead and start decorating here. And I think what we'll do is we'll just go ahead and decorate the cover first. And I have a few things here, but I do believe that I'm going to go ahead with this pumpkin. The first one, you know, that had just this cute little mushroom on it. But I think I'm going to go ahead with this green pumpkin just because it's brings out the green here in there, and I just think that this is just going to look really, really nice. So I'm going to go ahead and ink this up here, ink the edges. And that's also going to help, you know, if I wasn't, you know, didn't do my fussy cutting really well, it will kind of hide some of those edges that don't look as nice. So we'll go ahead and I'm going to, I think right about there. I do want to add some of this fabric here. I'm going to put that probably under this again, and then I want to add a small label here, and these labels I believe are from Love Junk Journals, and they are the they're from several of the digital label kits that Love Junk Journals has. I've had them for a little while, and they just, there's so many of them, so many to choose from. So if you don't have them yet, which you probably do, but if you do not, go ahead on Etsy to Love Junk Journals and search the digital label kits. They're just so many. So but I'm just gonna see here. I think that I like this one here. So let's just do that. So I'm gonna kind of crinkle this up a little bit so it kind of looks a little more old. And then I'm going to just lay this down, but I will need to trim this just a little bit here. So I'm just gonna make a little cut and then tear that. And then we'll go ahead, and I'm gonna use Fabri-Tac for this because it is fabric, and this just works really, really well for fabric to paper. So we'll just go ahead and just put a little bit on there. Always put your lid on that because it wants to squish out the top. So we'll go ahead and just lay this down. Look at this. Good. Just kind of squish that in there. I don't want it to be perfectly flat. Just kind of, there we go. Good. And then I'll go ahead and use the Fabri-Tac again because I'm gluing onto the fabric. So we'll go ahead, get this on there. Oops. Okay. And then lay that down. And with that fabric, it kind of raises this pumpkin up just a little bit. So makes it a little more on the, gives it a little bit more dimension. So go ahead there. And then I'm going to ink up this little label here just a tiny bit. And I just thought that this label that says, it says Dear Friend on it. And if I wanted to give this to somebody, then, I just think that that's very sweet. Go ahead and put a little bit of glue on the back of this. And just put this little label right here. Hold this down for just a minute. This Fabri-Tac doesn't set or grab as quickly as the art glitter glue, so it takes a little bit longer to dry. So, all right, so we've got this here. I'm gonna move these out of the way, and we'll go ahead, and I think I'd like to put a little pocket here, or a little corner pocket here. So I was thinking maybe this wood paper would be really, really cute. So I think I'm gonna just kind of measure this, and I am gonna do a corner pocket here. And so we'll go ahead and measure this. And we'll go ahead and trim that down. Good. And then I'm just going to have this come down here on the diagonal. Excuse my head there in the way. I think it's been doing that throughout the video. Good. Okay, put that scrap away. And then we'll go ahead and just get this glued in the corner here. And before I do that, I better ink here and just get rid of the white edges. Perfect. Okay. Okay. Go ahead. Glue that down. Good. All right. And then let's go ahead and make like a little tag or something. So I have all my scraps from trimming all the pages. So I've got this coffee dyed paper here, and I think what I'm gonna do is just glue these two together and make them a little bit sturdier. So we'll go ahead and do that. Put these together here because they should be right about the same size. Get this scoring tool, burnish that a little bit. Good. Wonderful. We'll ink this a little bit. This will dry fairly quickly here. Oops. I want to cut this into a tag shape. So I'm going to trim this corner off. And then we'll flip this around here. And trim this other side. Perfect. And then we'll ink this again. And I believe this will fit. Well, we might have to trim this down just a little bit. Go ahead. Wonderful. And this can just tuck in here, and you can use this as a journaling spot, and we can decorate this with a little label. And let's just see if there's one that we want to use. I think I'm going to go with this one and just put this here in the corner. And if you want to put a little hole at the top, you can always use a little hole punch. Try and get this in the center here. And we'll ink around here just a little bit and tuck this little guy in there. That's cute. All right. Get this clean up here a little bit. And then we'll move on to the next page here. And we have lots of little tags and things like that. You know, you could throw this little acorn in here, you know, like on this blank page. I think we'll just go ahead and do that. And I'm just gonna ink around here real quick. Careful around that little stem, and we'll glue this here. And we'll just put this little guy here. Really cute. And maybe we'll add another little label. Can't ever have too many of those. I think that's going to be a good one. Good. Let's see. Maybe here, make sure that's straight. Good. All right. And then the center signature here, the middle, let's go ahead and I'm going to use this lovely stamp or this lovely label. Just the definition of the word lovely. And I do think that this picture is pretty lovely. Fall is just one of the best seasons. Everything is just so lovely. Good. Good. I like that a lot. And then we could probably put a little mushroom in here. Good. Let's go ahead and do that. Put this here. Still leaving you plenty of journal space, even with this mushroom. And then this first one that I did, I put the closure, the ribbon closure, so it would just close here on the side. I am going to do it a little differently with this one that we're working on now. This one was put underneath when we were covering the back here. I put the ribbon underneath so it was secure. This one I'm going to put here when I'm going to put a little pocket here, but I'm going to put the ribbon here so that it will close on the top. So I'll show you that here. And I'm just going to use some of this coffee dyed cardstock here. And I think that's going to fit pretty well. So we'll go ahead and trim that. Get this even. Good. Good. Okay. Trim this here. And then this is going to be a little bit taller, so we'll go ahead and trim this off as well. And I'm not going to take any chances and do it with scissors. I'm just going to go ahead and use my blade here. This will need some ink, so we'll go ahead and ink this up. Good. And then I'd like to do like a little notch here. So we'll go ahead and try and get this in the, as much in the center as we can. And just a little notch, just so you know that it's going to end up being a little, you can tuck a little journaling card in there. So I'm going to put this in here like this. And then we're just going to add our ribbon here, and we'll use some Fabri-Tac, and I have this already cut, so we'll just make sure that we're about as even as we can, and I'm going to put this down with some Fabri-Tac. We're just going to go right along this line here. Good. And we'll go ahead and try and get this as even as possible. So I'll find the center here. And just go ahead and lay this down. Perfect. And we'll have to let this dry for just a minute or two. So I'll be right back when this is dry. All right, this is all dry, so we'll go ahead and attach our little side pocket here. So I'm going to go ahead and just use my art glitter glue. And we'll get that down, and we'll try and make something that we can tuck in this little side pocket. Here. Good. And this, between the Fabri-Tac and the art glitter glue, I think that's just going to hold that ribbon secure enough that you won't have any problem with that coming up or being, you know, in the way at all. So, and that is just looking really cute. Good. So maybe we can, you know, I have this larger pumpkin that we could tuck in here, and I think that's just easy enough. So I'm going to do that. Ink this up. And this is a larger pumpkin, so it's going to give you plenty of journaling space on the back here. And I'm just going to grunge this up so it's not as white, you know, super stark white here. And maybe just go around here a little bit and just ink this up. And excuse my reach there. Good. So we'll go ahead and tuck this little guy in there. That's so cute. And then I think we are just about finished here. So we'll go ahead and tie this here. And we'll take another quick look at this and see how we did. Oh my goodness sakes. All right, well, that's just too cute. That is too cute. So again, we'll just do a quick flip through. So here we go. This one measures, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, about 4.5 by about 4.25. That's and again, this is just a little mini journal. We have this little corner pocket here with a little tag, and then we've got 5 pages, so this is going to give you 20 writing pages in here, decorated with this little acorn and a little label. This beautiful center of the signature here. And then the very end with this little side pocket and this larger pumpkin, and you can journal on the back of that. So we'll go ahead and tie this back up. And we'll get out the other one and put these together And they just are going to make the cutest little pair here. We'll go ahead and tie this back up. Good. So here we go. This was the first one that I made, and then this is the second one, but just look how cute these are together. Just these fall mini journals. And again, this video was for the Scraptember 2025 with Seven Plaza and Crafty by Tony. They've got this going, and all the prompts are in the description below. And I hope that you enjoyed this. I thought these were just so cute, all made with a junk mail envelope and scraps. So thanks again for being with me today. I had so much fun, and I will see you in my next video.